What's up, my good people? Welcome back to the Blessed Beyond Measure podcast. I'm your host, CL The Source, your friendly neighborhood hope dealer, serving up that hope, that motivation, that inspiration, and that positivity. Yo, thank you once again for tuning in to yet another episode. And I'm back. Yo, I'm starting off some new stuff with the podcast. Kind of wanted to add different elements into the podcast. So before we get into the topic of today's discussion, I wanted to really just provide a mental health update. I'm going to be doing that going forward, not only in these solo episodes, but also with the guests that I bring on board. I think it's really important to do that, especially in today's time where it just seemingly feels like everything is gone bad. You know what I'm saying? You look on the news, you look on social media, it's just something constantly popping up on your timeline, popping up on the news that you're just like, damn, feeling overwhelmed, and just it could really be harmful to your mental health. So it's really important that we do this. And I think that going forward, it's going to be very, very valuable, not only to y'all, but to myself for sure. You know what I'm saying? And to the guest that comes on board. Shout out to my boy Hatch, man. OG Hatch of the Thin Line Between Genius and Insanity podcast. He was on the podcast episode a few episodes back. And he does this religiously with each and every guest that he brings on board. Just ask for a quick mental health check, sketch on a scale of 1 to 10, and I really appreciated that, and I love that idea, and I love that practice. And I asked him if it was cool if I can incorporate that in mine. You know what I'm saying? So I want to shout him out, and he said, yeah, absolutely. And I want to shout him out and definitely thank him for the idea and everything like that. But yeah, so quick mental health check with me and quick update. I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, if there was more than 10, I'd give it a 10, more than 10. But I'm gonna say 10, to be honest with you. Yeah, I have my struggles every day. I'm not gonna lie to you. You know, it takes me a little longer to kind of get the juices going and the motors running. But at the end of the day, or actually not even at the end of the day, when I do that at the beginning of every morning, I really get myself to a higher vibrational state, higher frequency. So no matter what's going on outside, I'm more mentally prepared to deal with whatever comes my way. That doesn't mean that I don't slip up and make mistakes or have any times where I revert back to my old ways and my old patterns. But when I do that, I don't beat myself up for it. I just kind of understand it as part of the process. It's part of my journey. It's part of my growth process, part of my healing process, and just part of life. To be honest with you, we're all going to go face some sort of adversity, whether we want to or not. You can't avoid it. It's just unavoidable. So with that being said, I mean, I'm at a 10. Like I said, if I could choose past 10, it definitely would be. Been really busy lately, but busy, productive and effective, actually, and kind of moving the needle forward with everything that I want in my life. First and foremost is my health. I've really been putting more of an emphasis on getting out to the gym, playing basketball, going for walks, going for hikes, right? Just doing some sort of activity each and every day. And it sometimes it takes a long time, and I really don't mind it. You know what I mean? For me, it's therapeutic. It's good for my health. It's good for my physical health, mental health, all that stuff. And I think that for me, the benefits are immeasurable. I myself have felt the results. I feel the results and see the results. And my energy level really are just higher than I've ever had them before. And I really want to keep myself at this place. Also, just in terms of events that I've been working for the job that I do. And it's a part-time job where I deal with stuff over at the Chase Center and work directly with the Golden State Warriors, as I've mentioned before. So it's really kind of based on the schedule of events that go on at the actual Chase Center here in San Francisco, California. So that's been keeping me busy. The whole month of March has been pretty crazy. March Madness for sure. And but it's all good because I am very fortunate to say that I'm in a place where I'm not stressed. I definitely am not really getting anxious. I actually want to be where I'm at. You know what I mean? I work with people that I really like, for the most part. I deal with some folks and stuff like that, but I have my ways of dealing with that. And that's actually going to tie into the topic of conversations today, which I'll get to in a bit here. But all in all, the month of March has been great. I haven't been releasing as many episodes as I was fairly recently due to the uptick in events that we have over at the Chase Center. So I do apologize for that. I do try to get some out as often as possible, and I do have a bunch coming up. And also, just looking ahead, I will be out of town next week, which is April 4th, pretty much that first week of April. So you may not see me as active. I'm going to load up a couple of clips in terms of creating some episodes so I can drop them and release them while I'm out there. But if I don't, I just want to give you all a heads up. I'm out and about, just gonna be living and enjoying my life, and like I do every single day. That's for me first and foremost. That's my priority. Because even doing this, I really enjoy doing this. But at the same time, like life calls sometimes, and you gotta answer the bell. You know what I'm saying? Like opportunities put themselves in front of you, and you just gotta kind of answer that bell. And that's kind of the approach that I've been taking, and I've been loving every bit of it. I'm in love with the process of where life is taking me. I'm very excited about where I'm going, what I'm doing, who I'm meeting, the things I'm experiencing, and just life's been grand. And I'm not saying that just to bullshit. Like I think you guys could tell by now that it takes work to kind of stay at this level of consciousness where your vibrational state is at a high regardless of what's going on outside or who you encounter or whatever may be going on in your life. And that's not to say that I don't get sad, that I don't deal with certain things, because I do. But that's exactly what I do. As I deal with them, I don't fall victim to them like I once did maybe in the past. And it's really been a revelation. It's been profound in many ways. And I really am just thankful that the work has really started to work. The work works, you know what I'm saying? So when you're putting in that inner work, you're putting in that physical work, you're putting in all sorts of work that's directed towards yourself, towards the betterment and improvement of yourself, you're going to inevitably feel the results. And that's also going to reverberate in other areas of your life, whether it be in your relationships, whether it be in your finances, whether it be at your job, whether it be just how you operate and move and flow throughout life. And I'm a walking testament to that. So, yeah, thank y'all for allowing me to really express that. And I'm, very grateful for you tuning in as always. But I am going to definitely be, as I grow, this podcast is inevitably going to grow because the things that I apply in my life have really been working. Some are kind of, still trying to test out certain theories and things that I kind of come across, and some work better than the others. And I'm always going to share the stuff that's been working for me in order to help you. You know what I'm saying? Like you catch something that that might help you, that you learn from this podcast, that you pick up from this podcast, or even just seeing me on social media, um, then that my job is done. Honestly, I'm here to serve. I'm here to be here for you guys. So I have a lot of fun, as I mentioned, but this is all for you. This is definitely all for you. And today I'm really going to get very specific about the topic of discussion. And today's topic of discussion is um it's a topic that's pretty near and dear to my heart because you know, it's going to get a little bit detailed in how, well, not a little bit, actually a lot. I'm going to expand on this topic the whole time on how to deal with negative people. I'm going to share different tips, techniques, strategies, steps on how to deal with negative people. And, I welcome anybody that has any other suggestions, any other ways and methods and, different techniques on how to deal with people that are just seemingly that just have like a negative dark cloud walking around them, and when you get around them you just get that vibe. You know what I'm saying? We all know some of those people. You know what I'm saying? Some of us encounter way more than others. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, I kind of wanted to just talk to you guys about my approach, give y'all some pragmatic ways of kind of dealing with that stuff without letting it affect you and letting it bring you down to their level. Because, if you're on the journey of self improvement and somebody gets you mad or somebody aggravates you, then that can really just show you where you need to kind of work on, what you need to improve on, and in terms of mastering yourself, right? And, you know, before I even expand further on this topic, this is something I just thought about right now organically, but the way that I used to deal with certain things in my life, whether it be a negative person or a negative situation or whatever the case may be, was to call somebody and just literally vomit all of my problems, all of the things that I used to like be pissed off about, and just call someone, like whether it be someone in my family that I'm really close to, or one of my friends, or even just indirectly, complaining about shit. And yes, I'll be honest with you, that felt good in the moment. You know what I'm saying? And in some cases, actually most cases, especially when I got to really dive deep into talking to it with somebody I cared about, I did kind of clarify some things, and I was able to come to a better understanding of how to approach different situations. But I'll tell you right now, it didn't get to the root of the problem, because I realized you have all the answers within yourself. You just have to learn how to be with yourself, learn how to kind of extract those answers from within yourself. You know what I'm saying? But when we do that with other people, it's unfair to them. You just come off as a complainer, honestly. And I recognize that about myself because I was that way for so long. And yes, again, temporarily it feels good, but like, are you really getting to the root of the problem? You know what I'm saying? Even therapy is a good method, which I like fully appreciate and I fully support and encourage people to do. But at the end of the day, when you're just venting and you're complaining, are you really tackling the problem? Most oftentimes, the answer to that question is no. So I think it's important to kind of go back to the drawing board on your own to kind of come up with a game plan, look, assess your situation yourself, and try to figure out what the best course of action is going forward. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, it's not fair to the other person. We all got our own problems and shit like that. And I'm not saying that you can't call your friends and talk to them and shit like that. That's not, by all means, that's not what I'm saying. But recognize when you're being a little bit of a complainer, or you're just venting and you're just vomiting on somebody, you know what I'm saying, without really kind of asking if it was cool. You know what I'm saying? And I used to do that a lot. So, in recognition of that, in my own ways, I really found uh, more, I guess, suitable and more conducive ways to help me grow and really get past the problem, or solve the problem itself. So today I'm really just going to share some of the things that have been working for me in regards to dealing with negative people, so that maybe you pick something up and it can help you going forward. But I guess with that being said, let's quickly define a negative person. There's all sorts of different types of negative people. Have you ever encountered somebody that you're just like, um uh, excuse me, have you ever encountered somebody that you're just like, they have a problem for every single solution you have to offer? You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, so like somebody I clearly just kind of talked about myself when I used to kind of call and complain to people or just vent to people, right? Have you ever encountered somebody that's like venting to you about something, and you're just trying to offer up solution after solution after solution, and with every time you offer a solution or like an idea or just something that could possibly help the situation, they got a problem for every single time you have to offer that? It's like their automatic default counter is to just counter with a problem. And I'm just like, damn, like, I mean, I guess I can't help you. And, like, and I mean, the reality is you can only help somebody so much. You can only say things so much, but they got to apply that in their lives if they so choose to. So they gotta be able to help themselves. They gotta want to help themselves first before you can actually help them. So for me, when dealing with people like that, it's just it's challenging because it can feel like a drain on your energy, especially when you got things to deal with yourself, right? You know what I'm saying? It's like, damn, like I'm over here trying to help you. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's figure this thing out. But for whatever reason, they just can't see past the actual problem itself. And again, they're just vomiting and venting. And I firmly believe that that's not like the best way to get to the root of the problem and actually solve the issue. You know what I'm saying? But for me, when I encounter people like that, or people like trolls, haters, just people that are just to have that negative vibe, that you just feel it, like you just know that you don't want to encounter them, or like you might even just like not even you might encounter them randomly. You know what I'm saying? For me, I think it's always important to kind of like look at ourselves first, and then look at our own negativity, because no matter how good we are or how much we practice this lifestyle, I think that uh there's something negative about us. As much as we try to fight it and move past it, it's just part of the human condition. I really believe that. But that doesn't mean that you have to put your energy into that. You know what I'm saying? You could choose to be positive regardless of what's going on. It's just how you choose to kind of frame things, right? But for me, it's always important to look at the mirror first. Look at the person staring back at you in the mirror and ask yourself, like, am I doing something to attract this energy? Like, is there something that I'm doing? Like, am I angry all the time? And am I anxious for whatever reason? Am I stressed out? Like, there's got to be a reason why I'm attracting this. And that's not always the case, right? You know what I mean? That's not always the case, but sometimes it is. If you're kind of like in a place where your life is a little erratic, it's kind of off the walls, and you're just not in full control of yourself, or even close to being in full control of yourself, or you're just at a depleted state, maybe there's a reason. Maybe you come off agitated and you're attracting these types of vibes. You know what I'm saying? So it's important to kind of recognize that within yourself if that's going on. And then when you do recognize that, do your best to make the change. Give yourself a break, right? I've talked about, ad nauseum, plenty of methods that we can do to really kind of look at how we can kind of get ourselves to a higher vibrational state, get ourselves to a better place, right? There's different practices. So I'm not going to get too far into that. If you want to kind of learn some of that other stuff, check out some of the older episodes, talk about it all the time. And I'll quickly run down a couple lists: meditation, journaling, reading books, listening to positive podcasts, making sure you're surrounding yourself with as many positive people, going for nature walks, like going to the beach, going to the park, right? Doing stuff outdoors, doing stuff for your physical health, doing stuff for your mental health, right? These are all things that you can do to pour back into yourself so that you can be your best version of yourself when you get out into the world and interact with all sorts of different people. You know what I'm saying? So make sure that you're good in your own heart and in your own body before you kind of are kind of out there in the world meshing with other people. You know what I'm saying? And for me, when I do that, like, I've noticed that the encounters with other negative people have been like very, very few ever since I've kind of like understood that about myself. You know what I'm saying? I've really noticed that interactions are just not nearly as angry as they used to be. Yeah, I still slip up every now and then. I'm gonna make mistakes, but the key is to learn from them. And I'm gonna get into that going forward too. You know what I'm saying? But life is just a constant test, and you really have to kind of recognize that. And sometimes it can come in the form of like other people and how you respond to that. So, you know, in knowing that, just kind of give yourself the grace if you make a mistake. Try to learn a lesson and apply it going forward, because that's if we're lucky enough, we'll get another chance to be better, right? And that's always the goal. You put out the energy that you wish to receive. If you want good stuff in your life, put out good energy. You know what I'm saying? And don't meet people at their level. You know what I'm saying? Unless it's like a higher level, but don't meet people that are trying to drag you down below, because then you lose full control of yourself. And it's a tough kind of hole to pull yourself out of. All right. So remember that. And then another way I like to deal with negative people is, first of all, after what I just said, second of all, is to remember compassion. I think it's very challenging, but it's important to remember compassion when dealing with a negative person. And also remember that people can only meet you from their level of their perception. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes a negative person doesn't even know that they're negative. They just kind of are the way they are. And they just don't even realize it. So, and that doesn't make it okay for them to be negative and toxic to you and all that stuff. But, in knowing that sometimes people don't even realize their own negativity, you can have compassion towards that. You can find compassion towards that, I think, you know what I mean? And I think compassion can also help you, choose ways to rise above and just really, again, never meet them at their level. The high road is always the tough road to choose. It's always a tough road to take. But when you take that high road, man, oh man, it just gets so clear for you up there. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no traffic. You're not jumbled with other people that are just not really meshing well with your energy and that are not going in the same direction as you. You know what I'm saying? So it's difficult. It's challenging. I get all that, but I promise you, it's worth it. And, you know, I'm be real with you. It feels good to be petty. You know what I'm saying? It feels good to meet them at their level, to troll somebody right back, or to, be a negative person right back, like attack them right back. Right. But at the same time, it's like, it's not the right thing to do. It just isn't. You know what I'm saying? It feels good in the moment, but it's just creating more problems because again, you're going to get what you put out into the world. If you meet them at that low vibrational frequency, guess what's going to come back in return? You know what I'm saying? And knowing that, you'd want to choose a little bit better for yourself. You know what I'm saying? So I think again, compassion is really important to kind of remember. And if you do slip up, like I said, give yourself that grace. Make sure that you're okay with it. Make sure that you're not too hard on yourself. Don't beat yourself up. It is what it is. Just recognize it and correct the behavior going forward. So the best revenge is not to be like them. Plain and simple. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, I'm going to talk about the next step. And this one is pretty basic. It's people are going to have their opinions about what I'm about to say here, but what you want to do sometimes, especially when you've got other things that you need to take care of and you're dealing with another person who's negative and stuff like that, is to just simply avoid them when you can. You know what I'm saying? Like you can avoid other people. That's perfectly fine. In order to protect your energy, you gotta avoid other people. In my opinion, I do it and I don't feel bad for it because it's not my responsibility. I can't save everybody. I can't help everybody, especially somebody that doesn't want to be helped. I'm compassionate towards them. You know what I'm saying? I care. It doesn't mean I don't care. I think about it, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, like my energy is limited each day. And it's going to be better served in other areas throughout the day if just I don't want to say waste it on these other people that are negative, that are just negative Nancy's, you know what I'm saying? But it's just a reality. Like the more time you spend with a negative person, it's gonna suck the energy out of you. It's gonna rub off on you. It's gonna pull you down to their level. And I personally can't have that. I just can't. That's not something that I can deal with. Um, and I'm the type of person that doesn't tolerate disrespect. I don't tolerate people just saying shit to me. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, and I'll get into it with some of the next steps going forward. There's always a way for you to get your point across where you don't even have to meet them at their level. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to play that game that they play, right? Just rise above it, take the high road, there's no traffic there, right? So, um, it's I think it's important to understand it's okay to avoid people. And when you do that, just try your, like, if you have to kind of like deal with people, it's okay to keep it like short, keep it cordial, right? But you know, just do what you got to do, focus on the task at hand that's in front of you, and wait for them to either leave or wait till you're done with what you got to do and move forward. Just get up out of there and remove yourself from the situation. And that's really going to be a perfect segue into the next step, the next action step that you could take, which is, if you know you have to deal with a negative person, or if you know that you're in a room with a negative person or under the same roof, or just know you have to deal with them, at the end of the day, we all have choices. We all have the power of choice. I understand there's consequences. Oh, yeah, we have to do this. I have to do this because of work. I have to do this because of that. But at the end of the day, if you're not mentally ready to deal with somebody like and their negativity, bounce, remove yourself from the situation straight like that. Like, just dip, like, or don't even put yourself in that situation, because it's just, what you're gonna get. You know what I'm saying? Like, the type of personality that this person has and whatnot. It's just gonna drain you, right? And maybe you can find ways to interact with them from a distance. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you got to work with somebody, or if you have to encounter somebody, you know what I'm saying? Like, find ways, creative ways to work with them. Email them rather than have to face with them. You know what I'm saying? Or or get on a call, or do what you got to do. I can't come up with those specific answers, but I'm just letting you know, remove yourself from the situation. You're not a tree. You can move. You can actually get up and move. You have legs. You have ways to actually move yourself from a situation. If you don't want to be there, don't be there. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I understand there's consequences with everything. If you were to do something like that, but we all got a choice in the matter. You got to make that choice. But you know, if you're gonna complain about it, then that's not really gonna be doing much, unless you're putting it in a structured complaint to your superior or to somebody that can actually make a difference with the situation, right? So, you just got to kind of like recognize your situation, assess it, and figure out the best way to deal with these people if you actually have to. So, um with that being said, it's not always an easy thing to do. I'm fully aware of that, but when you if you do have the ability to do it, just remove yourself. Honestly, like, if you don't have to deal with somebody, don't deal with them. You know what I mean? Just remove yourself, leave, go somewhere else, go to other direction, because it's not worth your energy, it's not worth your peace. And I promise you, it's not going to be helpful as you move forward, trying to argue with a hater, a negative person, a doubter, a troll, whatever you want to call these people. You know what I'm saying? Just move. Just find higher ground. But that gets to my next step. And this is pretty much going to be my last step. And this is going to be kind of an advanced step. So if you're not fully ready to kind of take this kind of direction, then don't. I would say that, if you do choose to take this direction, prepare yourself mentally, prepare yourself for all the possible different outcomes. And the step that I'm talking about is just to approach that person directly. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's going to help directly when you just find a way to meet that person, actually address the issue at hand, and approach it directly. Look the person dead in the eye, say what you need to say in a diplomatic way, of course. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's something that I always want to stress, is to take the diplomatic approach, because 99.9% of the time, I always believe there's a diplomatic way of saying things, of doing things, right? But um and if you're going to take this approach in dealing directly with people, you don't want to meet them at their level. You want to kind of come from a different place, a peaceful place, right? And a more, I guess, take a more grounded approach to this situation, and deal with it directly. Take that diplomatic approach, right? But it's not always going to work. So you have to prepare yourself for all sorts of possible different outcomes. But at the very least, if you were to take this approach, you would feel a whole lot better because you got that off your chest. And then going forward, you never know. That person could remember what happened, right? That person could, it could come up like when you guys are interacting the next time, and maybe they're going to be a little less aggressive, maybe they're going to be a little less negative, who knows, right? So you may not get the result that you want right away. That's fine, but you've done something that's within your control, which is to address it directly. And again, this is kind of an advanced direction, an advanced strategy. But if you're going to take this direction and you're not quite ready to do so, if you're like the non-confrontational type of personality, then give yourself the grace. Again, like you don't have to deal with it directly. It's fine. If you have to avoid people, remove yourself from situations, then do so. But if you do find that you want to address it directly, even if you feel like you're not ready, what you want to do is prepare yourself. And there's all sorts of ways you can do it. I'd say come up with a plan, assess the situation, right? Come up with a plan, and then get yourself mentally ready. Prepare your speech, right? Like in your own head. It's not like, you're about to stand up in front of a class type speech, but I'm talking about in your own head, have an idea of what you want to say, and have an idea of the type of energy you want to come in with, right? Prepare yourself for this actual interaction the best way that you can. And when you can do it, take that diplomatic approach, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes, honestly, like I said, it's 99.9% of the time, there's always a diplomatic way of doing things or saying things. But sometimes that 0.1% of the time when somebody just outright disrespects you or does something, you might have to let that person know right then and there, just out of necessity, out of you defending yourself, out of you standing up for yourself. You know what I'm saying? And I think that it's perfectly fine, because sometimes people just need to know there's no nice way of saying things. Sometimes there's no way to sugarcoat things. But I think that in moments like that, they can be teaching moments, right? They can be learning moments. They can be moments where you both grow, right? Where that person senses they really upset you. And speaking personally, I had something happen in my life recently where a loved one said something that was pretty offensive to me, and it came completely out of left field. And I got to be honest with you, I completely lost my cool. And this person is very special to me. You know what I mean? And I did not mean to be disrespectful. I did not mean to be harmful in anything I said. And I don't think I was, to be honest with you. I was just letting that person know how I felt in the moment, what that person said to really kind of get me to react that way. And typically, I like to choose how I respond rather than actually react. But you know, this one got me. So for me, I'm actually thankful for it because it pointed to a trigger that I wasn't really kind of ready to accept that I had moved on from. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it felt good to first of all express how I felt naturally without, having to overthink things or, put things together for the in fear of the other person kind of being uncomfortable with it. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, like I know in becoming a master of myself, I just don't want to lose my cool like that. I want to maintain my semblance of peace. I always want to be in a peaceful state. That's because I'm thinking the clearest when I'm peaceful. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking I'm making the best decisions possible when I'm coming from a clear state of mind. You know what I'm saying? But when I'm emotional, when my mind is hazy, when I'm tired and when I'm aggravated, when I'm stressed out, when I'm angry, that's when things can go awry. Things can go wrong. You know what I'm saying? And you put yourself in some precarious situations that could end up in 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 some very bad endings. So with that being said, in that specific moment where my loved one said something to me that really triggered me and got me to react in the way that I did, I completely lost my cool. but I got my point across. And we were able to, fortunately continue the conversation and then use it to kind of like help this person understand why I felt the way I felt, what I need from this person going forward if we are to continue building a healthy relationship with one another, right? And then also giving that other person to, the opportunity to kind of like express why they were able to, or why they felt the need to even say something like that to me. You know what I'm saying? And it was helpful at the end of it all. We were able to get past that and really understand, come to a better understanding. And I think ever since then, like the relationship has just gotten better. And that can happen, these challenging opportunities where we're faced with difficulties and moments where we're asked to do uncomfortable things, have tough conversations, right? Be in adverse situations. These are actually moments of and opportunities, really opportunities for growth, opportunities to do something good, to find a way to do the right thing, right? So, it's all how you frame it. In the moment, I'm well aware when you're in the heat of the moment, shit happens, shit goes down, and I'm just as guilty as the next man. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to sit here like I'm high and mighty, like I don't make mistakes. Hell no. I tell you all the time I make mistakes, but I tell you right now, I learn from these mistakes. I might make these mistakes again, but I catch them a whole lot sooner nowadays. And I think when you kind of recognize that, accept that, you can really begin to make more progress and clean up your life in a whole lot of different ways and align your life the way you want it to be. So that's something that I've always focused on. Well, not always, but much more recently on my journey towards personal development and, development of self and everything like that, and just becoming a master of myself. Right. So, yeah, I mean, those are the ways that I kind of deal with negative people. And look, people, there's different types, like I said throughout this episode. There's trolls, there's haters, there's doubters, there's naysayers, there's just negative Nancy's, there's people that just seemingly have a dark cloud over them all the time. And there's people that just like, you're just like, when you encounter them, they always gonna have something negative to say, something to complain about, right? And it's just like it's part of the human condition. They just don't know how to deal with some of the things that they got going on in their life yet. And that's where the compassion comes in. That's where, I can understand where another person's coming from. But that doesn't mean it's my responsibility to fix that. You know what I'm saying? Like if there's an opportunity for me to kind of like help out, I will. But I'm not gonna, offer any unsolicited advice. I'm always a solution oriented person. So I'm gonna try to kind of like throw some solutions out there. But if it ain't being respected and it ain't being received, I have to, catch wind of that. And I have to recognize like, okay, maybe I just need to detach myself from this situation because I'm clearly no help. So I better just remove myself from this situation and preserve my energy for the next interaction and let that person do what they need to do. Leave the door open, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I got to keep it moving. I cannot, it's just not physically possible for me to help somebody that doesn't want to help themselves. Yeah, I think a person has to come to an understanding that they need to help themselves in order, or they got to want to help themselves in order for other people to be able to even help them. You know what I'm saying? So, and, I still got shit to figure out myself. So I'm not sitting here saying that I'm high and mighty, like I got it all figured out, but I know that I have all the tools within me to figure out whatever life throws at me. I'll tell you that much. You know what I'm saying? Whatever life throws at me, because I've figured it up to this point. You know what I'm saying? I've been through some shit. As y'all know, if you're a fan of this show and you've really kind of been following the progress and understood who I am as a person, things that I've been through, I figured out a lot in my life. There's still a lot of figuring out to do. But that's even for the people that we admire most. We just know that life happens and you just gotta adjust, you gotta realign, you gotta repurpose, you gotta do all these different things, and just to recalibrate to understand how to increase your quality of life. And that's really what it boils down to, increasing that quality of life. And most oftentimes I find it simply is to remove the negative, from your situation as much as possible. Try to not deal with as many negative people as you don't need to be dealing with. You know what I'm saying? Don't be a negative person yourself. Try to always radiate the positive, look on the bright side of things, try to find something to be grateful for. That's always something that I harp on big time in this podcast. And y'all have heard it, you know, millions of times, I'm sure. So, with that being said, you just got to keep that in mind going forward when you're dealing with these negative people. But, you know, life's a learning process. Life's a test. Excuse me, life will test you repetitively, constantly. Right. So just be prepared, stay ready. So you ain't got to get ready. And yeah, man, keep going. You know what I'm saying? Life's better than what the news seems to always project. So if you're fortunate enough to even be listening to this podcast, I'm not saying just because you're listening to me, but I'm just saying if you have the technology and the tools and you have a roof over your head and you even have the ability to sit and listen to or do something, then you are more blessed than you can even imagine. You know what I'm saying? Especially in comparison to so many other people in this world. So please make sure to remember that. Please make sure to acknowledge that. Please make sure to always be grateful for that. Find ways to be grateful for that. So, yeah, with that being said, I'm going to wrap up today's episode. I thank y'all so much for tuning in. And if there's anything that you feel like that has been working for you, in terms of dealing with negative people and stuff like that, please feel free to drop that in the comments, leave a review, make sure that you add some of these things because the goal is always to help each other out, right? Like if there's something that I didn't talk about and it's working for you in your life that I might have just overlooked or maybe you never even thought of, please, please, please share that with me. If you got my direct number, text me. If you can email me, you can see me on Instagram at CL the source, at CL_the source, and at Blessed Beyond Measure Podcast. I'm on all these different social media platforms. So please make sure to follow me. It's going to be here in the links at the end of this podcast episode. And all in all, I just want to thank y'all for always supporting the boy. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Blessed Beyond Measure podcast. And if you love this podcast, please, please, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share it. Tell a friend and tell a friend. And let's just keep this thing growing because this is something I love to do. I really, really genuinely love to get on here and talk to y'all and connect with y'all. And it's definitely become a passion of mine. And I just want to keep getting better at this. And I want to keep helping other people. That's really what it boils down to for me. It's just like, how can I serve and help other people by sharing my story, by expressing myself, by putting my voice out there, my story, right? And just my energy, you know what I'm saying? So if this is something that you feel like can benefit somebody else, please, by all means, share it. You know what I'm saying? Shoot it to a friend, shoot it to a family member, shoot it to a colleague, a coworker, whatever the case may be. Just share this thing. And I really, really appreciate y'all. So with that being said, y'all, until the next time, stay up and stay blessed. Peace. Funky dope. Yeah. Listen.